Okay, so for some reason, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, so although I have to turn the TV up to pick up the sound, I'm going to show just a bit of something that shows those that are around most people. Of course, you must realise they are totally different humans. And from a human standpoint, they are not human at all. But here we have an expert, a psychopathic professor, telling you about the psychopathy of psychotic narcissistic individuals. He is one of the top experts in the world, I would say, and shows you and tells you exactly about the type of beings that you're actually dealing with, even though it is regarded as psychopathy, which it is. But what they probably don't emphasize so much is that they are created differently and therefore are something totally different. This is what I've been trying to express, but it doesn't matter either way. Even if you were just dealing with humans that have turned psychopathic, you'd still have the same problems and the same issues around you in your reality if you were a real life human, because they need your energy, they need your persona, or what is really a human at a more positive level, in order to copy, emulate, and project that image in the reality so they can survive and get what they want, which is essentially extracting eventually any form of negative human emotion or feeling, because that gives them energy to go on. Okay, I might turn this up a bit at the risk of getting myself into trouble because it's 2 o'clock in the morning, but okay, you know, they need...
The narcissist experiences maximal grandiosity. The existence or the presence of an adulating, admiring, intimate partner allows the narcissist the unparalleled experience of maximal grandiosity. I can compare this perhaps only to a drug high, a high of pure, unadulterated heroin or crack. It's something out of this world, this feeling.
Well, many of them use everything for that matter too, because
it expands like the Big Bang. It creates a whole
universe. They don't really live in reality.
Subsumes the universe. He becomes the world.
They have to distort reality. That's right.
And so he becomes almost godlike, if not godlike.
Yes, the
the
original one wanted to be God.
Is what makes this possible. Of course, all this is backed by unconstrained magical thinking. To feel that you're God, to feel that you subsume, that you have assimilated the universe, to feel that there's nothing you cannot do, that you're omnipotent, to feel that your intimate partner thinks the same. All these require magical thinking. All these require a divorce from reality, an impaired reality testing. And the narcissist at that moment feels invincible, omnipotent, capable of anything and everything, miraculously perfect, unblemishedly accomplished, impeccable, perfect, brilliant, the epitome and culmination of creation. And it's possible to attain this sensation, it's possible to experience this sensation, it's possible to go through maximal grandiosity in other circumstances. For example, winning an election, making a lot of money, passing an exam publicly, being applauded if you're an actor, being exposed on mass media. There are many ways many paths, many routes to maximal grandiosity. But all these routes, all these alternatives require a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of work, a lot of investment in ordinate amounts of time and resources. And above all, they require repeated interaction with people. They require a lot of pretension, faking it till you make it, a lot of
Faking it till you make it.
cooperation and cooperation.
Must turn this down, it's too loud. I could play the whole video, I could play 1,000 videos where it's just that this one I find, this particular professor, expert, and very, as you can see, very much showing you the nature of the artificial beings, the AI, technical, programmed adversaries, in a way you could say, unfortunately, of real life humans, because they're everywhere, they're all over the screen completely. They are brilliant in the way they project themselves. They download all the human thoughts and emotions and ideas, feelings, everything that is human is downloaded. And of course, this particular professor is telling you that in personal interactions, that's exactly what the artificial android beings endeavour to do. They basically befriend or get and need to get involved with human beings in order to basically covet all their human qualities, in order to assimilate or fit into the reality and continue to influence and take over the human being. You know, I could show any number, almost anyone on the internet I could show. I'm picking what I think are not so much the best, although I think some of them are the best at what they do, but that's just my personal preference, because that's how the internet works. It works to seduce, you at a personal level. So what is your particular taste, or what attracts you in the style that people talk, will be what you watch, and therefore that will be the androids that will seduce you on the internet. You will think they are real human beings, but they actually aren't. So that's just how it is. Now, it's just how it is, and obviously I cannot compete with these beings. I cannot compete with them at all. Not at all, at any level. We have him, and we have, the demigod, goddesses of the screen that seduce us, and then the real life ones, or what we think are real life, on the actual computer screen. But at any rate, you can't compete with them. The real life is suppressed and pushed down, while they, with the technology that goes through the air. And don't forget that I have been told that all the ones that are disciples of the God entity of this reality, the controller of this earth world or earth matrix, can read the human mind, like most of them are psychic. So so they can read the human mind, and they're allowed access to this at this time because it's the end time. That's the almost impossible challenge that human beings, including myself, have to deal with and face, because you will not realise that you are interacting with beings that steal your mannerisms, steal your humanness, so they can use it to project it out, particularly if they think it is beneficial. Because if they think that other people notice you, for instance, then they will say, we have to copy that because that obviously is attracting attention, because they want to seduce and influence and take down as many real-life humans as they can. When I say take down, if you are interacting with demonic, artificial, negative, destructive beings that only want to take everything from you and give you nothing in return, and basically then eliminate you, you have to realise how very diabolical this situation is. And they do it covertly, just like they do it to me. This is what I've been dealing with for the last 6 years and been trying to show, not because I particularly want to be in the limelight like these ones or even influence anyone, but just because I want to keep going in this reality without being totally harassed from living a basic normal life. But of course, maybe that's not what I'm meant to have. Sorry about that, but maybe that is just pain hitting me. But basically, that is not what I'm meant to have, evidently. Or is it something that I've created because I have lived so negatively? Like, see, there's still an outside force outside the matrix, the true creator, because, as I've said before, I do not believe that any of these beings can create. They can control the life force, they can control the creator human beings, because don't forget, if you are from original creation, then you are a real human being. So you are, human thought creates reality. And human frequency and vibration is sent out. And that is like energy. Everything is frequency and vibration and energy. When I heard this saying about 5 years ago, that's when it just all clicked for me. It was like, well, of course, if that's the case, why am I being suppressed? Because I must be part of that frequency and vibration. Because I said to myself, I've said this so many times, I don't do anything in this reality. Why am I being suppressed? Why am I being targeted and surrounded daily? Why are they trying to control me even from doing the simplest activities? And I thought, it must be something in my personality. It must be my potential to feel good. Or me wanting to try to feel good, or seeing some good in something, because I thought, the little silly things that I do, why am I being suppressed from these things? Why am I being stopped from them, or diverted from them, or made uncomfortable so that I can't just walk outside and feel free and at least okay? Don't have to be on top of the world. And I thought, it must be because the human being, or real human beings only, have the potential for the human frequency and vibration, and therefore any creativity. Also, I realised that all the human thoughts were being downloaded onto the computer and then projected out by the demigods or anyone that is on the computer. They don't have to be a top world-class professor like this fella. They could be, and they are, but they can even be your lower level ones like myself, pretending to be real life, that basically know a real lot. I only know it because it's happened to me, and I've had to figure it out. 24 hours a day trying to think and watch things to find out what the truth was. But the ones that are on the screen, they download it as human beings figure it out, because they have to be the first. They have to be number one. The artificial ones, as he said, they have to be God. They have to present themselves as though they know much more, so that you are influenced and believe in them, or at least watch them. That's basically what it is. Because they can't just live their life like I was trying to do, quietly and just get on with it. No, because they have to have attention, because they have to have the positive or negative energy from a human being, because they have no real life, because they are essentially, as he said, well, he didn't say that, but he's indicated they are dead, dark machine beings pretending to be real life. You know, he may or may not like me filming him. He likes the attention. He likes me to watch the videos, but and he admits what he is. He all but says almost everything. He says he's like, you know, an alien artificial life form. He'll actually say that, but won't say that there actually is a difference in these beings, that there were always different species of human beings on the earth. We know this happened. We know the God entity came and interacted with man and woman and tried to separate them and tried to confuse them and tried to merge with them. This is what it's always been all about, and now they have accomplished this. They accomplished this once you breed, whether it be by any means that is artificial, with a human being, you create a different species. It may look the same. It will look the same, but it will not be mentally or spiritually the same. It will be an artificial life form. And of course, we have been, we're encouraged in a way to accept this artificial kind of technical world too. Now, I don't claim to fully understand how it works. I actually don't. So I am the big mouth talking the talk, and they know how things work. But what they don't know, or what they try to get, is how the human mind works at an emotional feeling level, because they technically understand how human beings think because they've been studying them all along. You know, they know how to mimic it, and they try to understand it in order to mimic, copy, and assimilate into it and take from us. Isn't that right? That's why he's smiling, because he's like, yes, you're spot on. Yeah, why one day he loves you and hates you. That's because, they're programmed to basically extract the negative energy, because they don't have any capacity for love, but they do have capacity because they're programmed to extract the negative energy. They have big capacity for negative programming. I don't fully understand it, I have to admit. I see it in my personal life. I see it around me. But of course, being not of that species, I understand the negative emotions too, because they try to make me at low frequency, which means unhappy and angry and dissatisfied and resentful and wanting to hit out. They do that. That's the whole idea of the stalking and patrolling and controlling program at a sight, sound and emotional level that is levelled against me daily, and has been levelled against me daily. Every day. Like, I'm physically in pain now, and yet in a few hours when it's light, I'll have to go down the road. And from the minute I step outside the door, I have cars swirling around me, trucks and buses making extra loud noises, coming past me and making the noise only as I go past. But this is only for me, so no one else sees it. Wherever my eyes look, I have flashing lights, cars blinking their lights. If I look to one corner, but this is not something I can show to someone else, because if I had someone even standing next to me on a street corner and I look to the side and the car is flashing and blinking its lights, which is mind control because it's distracting, annoying and irritating, and then I look across the road and someone is patrolling me and moving around, or if I look then to the other corner and another car is blinking its lights, if there was someone even standing next to me, assuming they're not of the controlled patrol force, which is highly unlikely because at least 95% of what's around me is of the controlled patrol force, unfortunately. But if I had a real live human next to me, they also probably would not see it because because they're not looking through my eyes. See, this is a mind control of real human beings. That's why it's a covert attack on human beings to bring them down, because it's, as they say, hidden but in plain sight. In other words, those cars are doing those things. All the vehicles are doing it. All the people on the street are stalking you. But to an outsider, it looks as though they're just random people walking past you, walking into your space. And that's what people would say. You can't, because it's only if you live it 24 hours a day that you realise what they're doing. You realise how every time they're crossing in front of you, there's always someone in your sight. There's always someone coming. And you know it wasn't like that before. The same with the cars. Wherever you look, they will be flashing their lights. And the cars didn't have blinkers that flashed their lights before 6 years ago anyway. They just had still lights, because a flashing, blinking light is much more distracting, much more mind controlling than a still light. And also the lights are extra bright. So they get in your eyes and you can't avoid them. But all these things, and the car lights, bright as anything in broad daylight, the buses that make an aggressive noise that never did before. These buses are driven by this army bus depot that's only down the end of my street, where every single person in it is an army military operative. Literally, this is true. And they are posing as civilians driving buses as though they are tanks, literally. Because when the buses go past, they make these aggressive, loud noises so that you can't even walk down the street quietly. The same with the astronomically amount of large, huge trucks and trailers with lights all over them. Garbage trucks that are tanks, driven by military operatives, satanic military operatives, if you want to look at that. Demon-possessed android artificial beings driving military garbage truck tanks. They're exactly the same, but you see all these garbage tank trucks everywhere. I can't emphasise this enough, but I can show it, but it doesn't ring to most people. But they're everywhere. Garbage trucks 24 hours a day, which you never had. In fact, you never used to hardly ever see a garbage truck, because basically if you weren't up at 5 o'clock in the morning when they pick up the garbage, you wouldn't even see one. You might go, like I say, unless you were up at that time and actually saw them coming. And also when they do come, they've got these flashing lights all over them. The garbage trucks never did that. What do you have to flashing lights, all through the night? I could show them, but they're almost blinding you. Even the ambulances that go past, for me, I don't know if this is all over Sydney, this is what I'm saying. Maybe they just turn all this stuff on around particular human beings. I'm guessing they do. With flashing lights all over them. The same with the police vehicles, but all vehicles, trucks with lights all over them. They never used to have this. Huge semi-trailers going past with lights all over them, making astronomical noise only as they go past me. You would say trucks sometimes do make a noise. Yes, but they don't have to make the astronomical noise they do. But I can't prove this because they only do it when they go past me. So how can I prove it? I can't prove it. But at any rate, but what I am going to just show, if I can, like I say, it's about 2:30 in the morning now, maybe 3, I'm not sure. It's getting pretty late. And I wasn't even going to make a video, but I just want to prove once again something that I have been trying to show, I've shown it many times, but I have to repeat it to show that it's a reality. And it's going to be hard for me to show this, and it's only a small point. It's only a very small point, because I can only show small things and they mean nothing to most people and no one cares anyway. But I'm just going to say that once again outside, just outside my front where there's a little garden, which I just leave to grow naturally, because if I put any pots or any flowers or anything out there, not that I've got the time or the energy now anyway, but in the past I certainly put stuff out there and it's always taken or destroyed. In fact, my big dish that I left for water for the birds was smashed about a month ago. And it was smashed by the workmen, the army workmen, the military workmen, the AI army beings that think they are, gods, that want to control me and my reality to keep my frequency low, and so I'm unhappy, so they have full control of the reality. But also that is a way of keeping real humans from other real humans, because that's their real name of the game, is separation, because they want to control the real humans, they want to control me, they want to take all my life and all my ideas, all my good points, so they can assimilate it, so they have more control over other human beings and therefore their matrix reality, or the earth, whichever way you look at it. It's like a possessive, dominating human being that wants a partner that they can be possessive and dominating with. In other words, that they have complete control over, because they're insecure and are threatened or feel that that person is maybe too good for them or something, and therefore they have to watch them all the time. They won't let them go out, they won't let them associate. It's that kind of mentality. But actually that isn't as much real human mentality as the artificial androids. We sometimes act that way because we are in this reality where we feel, we get conditioned to these things. But in reality, if we were just a real human being and we knew that we were with our own kind, we wouldn't be dealing with that. We only experience all that possessive insecurity because we're, like myself, I've mainly associated with artificial, psychopathic, narcissistic, negative human beings that essentially are insecure because their whole life is centered around control, power, same thing, where they only want to dominate and control. They only want to dominate and control. This fellow will tell you this. He will say, that is what I am and that is what I do. He will say, I am a psychopathic, narcissistic type of aware, self-aware human being. That's what he will describe himself as. Whereas he will say that, the majority of, say, those that have the narcissistic personality disorder, as without being a know-all, that is definitely separated from self-liking or self-acceptance, like a real human being should and normally would have if you weren't in a matrix. That's where you accept yourself as you are. You accept that you are a human being. And if you knew you were in a control matrix, you would probably accept yourself a lot more. But of course, at the same time, you'd also be aware that it's a spiritual domain, so you're meant to actually behave as humanly human, and therefore as considerate or with the higher human qualities as possible. And that's the only downside, is that you realise that you haven't done that in your life, and that you've let yourself down, and you know where you come from, your creator, down, because you went along with the Matrix God, really, and it's Matrix then, because that's what they want. They want to keep you stuck in the Matrix. Matrix God, the Lucifer being, the original one that seduced Adam and Eve and fooled them or tricked them out of paradise into chaos and into the earth matrix, more or less, you could say. That's if you take it from a particular religious standpoint, you know, which that therefore you use those names, but it's all the same thing. I've just said there is a controlling God from the beginning, and it doesn't matter what name you put on the being or on the original humans or whatever. It probably doesn't matter, because you know, this being changes its name and its demeanour and its whole purpose according to circumstances, according to how much it can control and become God, and to the humans, not only to become God to the humans like these artificial ones want to be. They want to influence, they want me to watch them. I've watched so many videos of particular ones, and they want you to watch them. They want you to follow them. They want you to believe that they are speaking the truth. And of course they are speaking the truth. This is the dangerous thing, is that most of the artificial Luciferian God, whatever you want to say, you can put any name. I prefer to use a more pleasant name. Their whole aim is to now seduce you even with the truth, because they know that if you know certain things, that you will only believe those that are telling the truth. So they have to then seduce you with the truth, because, you know, like when the god, Lucifer, seduced Eve out of the garden, if you want to look at it that way, she was no fool, but she was seduced by what she thought was truth. She wanted to know the difference. She wanted the knowledge, because he was like, I will give you the knowledge of good and evil. So she was like, well, of course I want the truth, I want the knowledge. Maybe my creator has denied me knowledge. And she was tempted then, because she was told, it is not a benefit for you to see good, it is not a benefit for you to see evil. That's right. There is a difference between good and evil. But if you are in paradise or in the garden and you are protected and you are with your creator, you don't need that. In the earth matrix, yes, we do need to know the difference between good and evil, because we're no longer in that protected paradise. We're now in a very unprotected, very alien, very artificial, very technical, and very controlled earth, or matrix as they call it. But anyway, what I've got myself sidetracked here, I'm sorry. I was going to just say that that outside about the garden, yes, I was not the Garden of Eden. No, definitely not the Garden of Eden, but it's the same thing, because it's the same beings, the same ones, because don't forget they've multiplied, although there were many of them anyway, I'm told, not just the one God, but many came with the God, because this God always had followers and believers and those that worshipped and looked up to this being. And that's the problem. Sometimes if you're very beautiful or very brilliant in any way, sometimes people will start to worship you, even though you may not be God, even if you're a created artificial being. Or even if you become that, it doesn't matter. You can believe that combining with technology is a benefit. You can believe that to create artificially is a good thing, is a benefit to you. See, it's all a question of what you think is best. So it's a decision and a choice, and many follow, and many, create beings artificially, and then they populate the earth, and then they're mixing with the real life, natural, normal human beings, but, they don't interact with them in a friendly manner. They appear to. They will befriend you, but they have, nefarious motives from a human standpoint. They want to take from you. They don't want to combine to give with you. It's like it's like AI computer. You go on there and you get all that information which they have retrieved from your very mind, that part of your mind which is totally hidden from you. In other words, because 3/4 of the human mind or more is closed off from us. That's what happens when you come into the earth. So that's the challenge, is to still perhaps act, I would think, which we don't do, to know the difference between good and evil, because we've come into a different domain. And because we're denied access to most of our minds, and the artificial ones are given access to it, it's a very big, almost impossible situation that you can get on top of. But that is what is happening now, because it's the end time game, as they say. It is a game. It's a game to them. It may not be a game that I want to play. No, it isn't. But it is a game to the artificial beings. They live that way. That's why their patrol system around is like them, is entertainment for them. I'm the deer, you're the deer, and they're like the hunters. But they can't hunt you down openly like a hunter would. They have to do it covertly and underhandedly and like I say, hidden in plain sight. They're out there doing it. But they only do it when I go out. So it's only visible to me. Or if you're a real human and they come down on you, the same thing. But if you're a human that's in the dark, like I've said before, you could be standing next to me on a street corner where they've got the flashing cars around and the noisy traffic. But that will only happen while you're standing there with me. And then when they go into the next suburb after they leave me, it'll be much quieter. So they'll just say, oh, gee, she lives in a very noisy area, or maybe they're doing a lot of work today. That's right, a lot of trucks, a lot of traffic, and why are all the workmen around? They won't see that as a deliberate army patrol force around me, because they probably won't even care either, because if it's not around you, it's not around them all the time, it's not harassing them, it's not causing them psychological distress and bringing their mood down, making them unhappy, therefore lowering the frequency and vibration of this entire reality around us. Because everything is frequency and vibration and energy. The artificial ones know this. Some of them know it at a conscious level. Most of them probably don't. They probably only act that way because they need the negative energy. It's probably only the God entity and the top beings that would probably understand the whole thing. I don't know this, of course, but I'm guessing that. But I was just going to show, if I can, because I don't want to go out there in daylight doing too much, although they will see it even of a night. But I just want to show that, as usual, out here, the little garden, and it's not much, like I say, it's just really what's left there, because everything's been wrecked and stolen. Not that I care, it doesn't worry me, but it's just a point to show you how negative and petty these artificial people that look like human beings, like around these neighbours around here, they all look normal and natural. They'll come up and talk to you even. They will. But then, when your back's turned, they do this. And I'll show you. And I've seen them on occasion, but of course I can't film it. But also the artificial workmen just come around. And I'll just have to... it's dark out here. It's like 3 in the morning. And Can you hear that zooming motorbike? Some of the motorbikes that go past here, even at 2 and 3 in the morning, you can hear them in the house, and they are so aggressive. They're like monsters. And they're not just young people having a good time. They're not even young, most of them. They are real, and they never used to have these motorbikes that did this. They are like so aggressive and angry. They are like demons on bikes. Literally, that's exactly how they sound. I have to say that. And you can hear them from like streets away, all through your house. So how loud they really are must be astronomical. But that just shows how aggressive, and we haven't got these, I can't believe that we've got these two artificial ones telling you psychology. There we have the truth seekers. Look at this, can you see it? The two of them, this has just come up. I wasn't planning on this, but I'm going to show it because they're obliging me. But look, the artificial ones, can you see the transformer here? Can you see that they are reversed human beings even? Can you see it or not? Yes, even though see the blonde hair, but the glasses, the look. But is that a natural born female? Is that a natural born female? Is it? Can you not see that they are two in one? Can anyone see it? Can you see it? They are very obvious, really, but not to most people, because we condition our thinking, just as I have done. I've had to really look clearly. Can you see it or not? And I don't care how impressive they are impressive. And these people are professors, doctors telling you about the psychopathy of the psychopathic narcissistic individual. They're literally telling you about themselves, but they are your truth tellers. Can you see it? And they are the artificial, technical, reversed, double, androgynous android beings. Can you see it? And they are experts. They are your top experts. Doctors, both of these are doctors of psychology, telling you what they are, or trying to tell me to avoid the psychopathic narcissistic individual, but at the same time, that is them telling you about them while I watch them believing them to be the truth tellers. That is the game. And she's putting her hand up against me there. They also cast spells from the TV. They influence you from the TV. People don't know it. See the arm up there? You know, it's dangerous almost watching them unless you are aware of this. But even when you're aware, they can still affect you. Because look at me, I watch them because I want to clarify in my own mind my own thoughts. They can smile, but these are two very good ones. They are excellent, as the professor was excellent before. She's warning me about herself, really, and yet that is the unbelievable truth. But that is the deception, the end-time deception. She is warning me to avoid psychopathic, narcissistic people. But I will watch her, therefore I will trust and listen to her. But she's really warning, but actually she isn't in my personal life, so I feel that it's okay to listen. But you see, the point is that it is still seduction at a different level. You know, so any rate, I better just show the outside. Sorry about that. I just got a bit funny. I'll have to use a light here to show that sometime yesterday, you know, like, I'm just going to make the point of how I'm going to use the word sadistic because it is just petty and mean and sadistic, but it happens over and over again. Every time my little tree that's just out here in the front, it's not much, grows up really beautiful and green and just a few other plants next to it. I actually said to myself, I think they're going to leave it this time. I said that a few days ago, but see, they read my thoughts. They saw that I was happy with it. And look, I'm just going to show it quickly. I don't like doing this, but I want to make the point. I've got a little light here, which I haven't even ever used. Oh, it's starting to rain. Oh, gosh, that means I'm going to get wet. But look what they've done. Can you see it? See how they've cut the tree down right down to its roots. Oh, I'm getting wet here. The rain is deliberately coming down so that I'm getting on my back, so I can't show this. See, can I show it? Can you see it? I hope I'm getting it. See how they've cut the whole thing off at the roots. And every little plant. It was right up all high here. It was all up here over the thing. Cut it. Can you see it? It's raining. Can you see they've cut the whole thing down? Again. Every time, and all these plants all ruined. All these plants all cut down. Everything. It's not much, and it doesn't matter. I don't even care, to be honest. I don't. You know, it bothers me only so minimally in comparison with like my physical distress at the moment and whatever. So I don't really care, but better just turn that light off. I haven't used that light ever. I always thought I'll just keep it. It's the only thing I've got that's got a battery in it, and now I just use. I'm soaking wet. That rain just come down as soon as I went out there, so I'm soaking wet just when I was going to show that thing. Is that coincidence or what, or is that the Matrix? Because they do control the weather. Human beings can control these things too, but when you're suppressed, you know, they can control it. I'm sorry about all that mess. I'll close that door. But they can control the rain, but so can human beings. But what I'm saying is that, you know, if my mood is low, as it is at the moment, then they can override any human emotion, frequency and vibration, and then they have full control of the weather. I'm only sorry I haven't got the wide screen because, you know, because you can't see these two fully. I don't even think it's coming out very good. But these are two of your top. Sometimes they collaborate. That's interesting too. Like they will often have the two best types of ones collaborating. I have to say, these are the best, you know, they are. Isn't it amazing how the end time deception is so great that we have two of your greatest psychopathic deceivers telling you about psychopathic deceivers, if you want to think about it. I mean, I'm just going to say that if you've got all the qualities of the android beings, as these ones do, you can you see it? Like, okay, so we've got the blonde hair and the glasses, but take away the blonde hair and the glasses, and probably bred a certain way from day one, and don't forget massive alterations can be done. But can you not see that that is a duality human being? In other words, that it has characteristics of man-woman, 100%. This one too, 100% characteristics of man-woman. And you notice the larger-than-life persona and the larger-than-life, head, which is impressive, but it's very hard to show the actual proportions when you're just filming on the TV. But the proportions of the head make these individuals look slightly larger than life. But it is just the way that the artificial android beings are. It's only slight sometimes, but in these two, I think you can see it very clearly. I'm just lucky that they come up. Don't forget, this is only with the woman. This is only with the females. It's reverse world, reverse male, man, woman, so the men will be the opposite. But it will be at a proportional level, so you won't be able to pick it too easy. you really won't be able to pick it too easy. Like unless you really, and don't forget it will vary, but it will be, I can pick it really easy now because I've been looking at it for years. And it looks very obvious to me when I look. But it took me, but I was so surprised to realise it when I was shown it by others. But I didn't believe it at first. But then when I saw it everywhere and actually said, I'm going to have an open mind, I'm not going to go with what I like. Just because I like someone or admire them, I'm going to say, yes, I did notice that my favourite film star or some of my idols did have the larger than life persona, and this was actually said to me years ago about the great female actresses of the past that I obviously admired, because I like to watch a lot of old films. I've just done that because if you live a lonely existence, I used to just stay home most of my youthful life watching old movies, and so but like when this lady actually passed on, it was actually said that when they examined her body after she'd passed on in the mortuary, shall we say, the actual doctors said that her head and brain was slightly larger than average, or an average woman. And that's when I started to realise that what these people were telling me about the artificial duality, androgenous beings was so. That means that they have characteristics of both male, female. And that, of course, is their goal, and how they come into existence and how they multiply, because they actually emulate and are from the God entity, which is a duality being. These beings can be very beautiful and can be very interesting and fascinating to the human being. This is how they seduce and get us in. Sometimes they do it intellectually, sometimes physically, but usually it's a combination. But either way, the attraction is because human beings get used to them, and they actually do get fascinated by them. Because because I sense there's something different, there's an attraction. And of course they set up this fantasy reality with you. Because they are artificial beings and they are not real, they let you fall in love with yourself. She laughed, if I was, say, interacting with this one, and obviously I have an attraction for blonde hair, okay, so if I was interacting with this one, it would largely let me live in fantasy. In other words, it would largely tell me, it would read my mind and therefore know what I like. Also, I would probably tell it. So I would tell it things about myself. It would pick up on my demeanour and my micro expressions, everything they pick up on, because they study human beings, as they've said, like a PhD. You know how normal human beings just look at other people and take them in general and are more relaxed? These are like scrutinising every little thing, because they're artificial Terminator machine beings, really. Or, like a Terminator scans the environment, scans every little thing, because they're basically almost paranoid machine beings, you could say, because they scan every little thing so they don't miss anything, so they can study you, and then if you say got involved with one at a more personal level, you would then be seduced by your own fantasy, because you, as they said at a psychological level, you fill in the gaps. You fill in the gaps of these narcissistic, that's right, psychopathic personality types, which are essentially these beings. You fill in the gaps. You fill in the gaps for their lacking. They don't have the romance or the persona that you really think they do. They don't have the personality or any good positive human traits, but you do. But when you interact with them, they will feed you certain romantic lines or certain information, or present themselves to be highly intelligent or whatever. But most of it is false. You fill in the gaps. You think because they say one little intelligent thing which they've copied from another human being, or copied off the internet or anywhere else, because it's a mass thing now, then you're impressed and you think that person is on your wavelength. But in reality, then you fill in all the fantasy, like they say, the shared fantasy. But essentially it's a one-on-one fantasy. It's not a shared fantasy. It's a shared takeover for them, but it's a shared fantasy for you, because you believe you're literally being seduced by yourself. I said this years ago because I couldn't believe it. But essentially, if you believe something about someone to be true, and they're a real human being when they're actually just faking everything about themselves, they don't have a real persona. They change their persona according to every different person they meet in order to extract human energy from them, also to get the positive human traits, so that then they can seduce another human being to get the negative energy, take them down, eliminate them, and basically have full control over their reality, or over you, because then it becomes their reality, because they've controlled the human being. That's their sole aim, because they do not like real human beings. They never did from the beginning. The original Luciferian God did not want to help or support or serve real human beings in any way. They wanted to be an individual God of all, and decided to take over the earth, and did, and has full control over this earth, and has from a long time, and is largely populated by its children, its relatives, its disciples. They're all the same thing. Its servants, its believers, because naturally you believe in your own God. Whatever has created you, wherever you spring from, you're going to believe in it. But that's not where a real human being comes from. They come from a creator outside the earth. That's just common sense, isn't it? We know that. It's just that we're confused because we think that we live in a world where everyone is all the same, all human beings. It's just that some might have more problems, some might be more aggressive than others. You know, they fake it till they make it, and they fake it very, very well. And, you know, even I spend most of my time watching them, because they're actually clarifying or relaying back to me what I already should know. But most of my mind is closed off. Actually, most of what they're saying now I do know, because, you know, they've gradually exposed themselves to me, and so therefore I'm more awake to the whole thing. But, you know, they have still stolen it from my mind, which has basically been kept from me for my whole life, and that is true of most human beings. That's what they call being in the dark. They don't come down on you while you're in the dark. They seduce you only at personal levels then. The Matrix and its armed forces, or its armed control force, only comes down on you when they can no longer seduce you at this level on the internet or on the computer, whether it be with the truth, or even if it's just frivolity, or in personal relationships. When they can no longer seduce you in a personal relationship, although to be quite If I was a little bit more upfront, I'd have to say that I have been still seduced in personal relationships even after the matrix came down on me. Even over the last 5 years, I have been seduced and tricked and fooled by personal relationships. In fact, it has brought me to my lowest level on occasion, and even daily in many ways, as much as the matrix control force around me. So that just goes to show you that you can know the truth, you can be aware of beings around you, but you can still be fooled because they are too damn good. They really are. They are too good for us. I said this years ago. I said you can't win, and they are too good for us. It's easier for me to see them on the screen now than what it still is in personal life, although I do recognise all the local beings around me as the same as this. Totally artificial android duality beings. They are very obvious too. All of them have the different proportions that are not real human. In other words, they are a mix. They're man, woman in one. At the more glamorous higher level, like at the superstar, movie level, they can be so magnificent, like they can be so just going to show that as an example because like I say, this was actually stated that her proportions were different to what was a normal woman when she passed on. And I think you can see it. It's very obvious, but it makes her extremely beautiful and larger than life. I don't think I'm getting that picture and I'm getting too much of a light there. But and she didn't have a small body either, but still the proportions are not the normal, even though it's only slight, the proportions are not, what you would call the normal, it doesn't have the normal female bone structure. It has male bone structure, but female characteristics because everything is combined and altered and turned into a larger than life glamorous image, which is extremely, seductive to most people. It doesn't, obviously at a local level, you're not going to be dealing with movie stars walking past you. And also if you're in an area like I am, where there is open trans people, so you have, because they're all transformers. But some will be very obvious because if you're in particular areas and some people will openly admit that they, all this is part of the end time kind of game, in a way, in the sense that, so isn't it funny that we have like the glamorous goddess, the magnificent goddess, and yet on the screen in the background where I've got the computer going, you have like the intellectual, psychological, goddesses, if you want to say, but they're really, they're just different versions of the same thing at a physical level. Like these are not, but the proportions are the same. The bodies are of the same maker, you know. But I don't know if it's if you can film it and show it. But you know, I should have the widescreen on, so I'm disappointed. But I just wanted to show how the neighbours have, or you know, or even the patrol workmen have come and got rid of that little tree in the front, even though it's not much. But see, that's how petty and mind controlling they want to be, because, you know, essentially, if you like something, even though I've never verbally said it, but you see, that's what I'm saying, it's in my mind. I knew that I thought that a few days ago, and yesterday it's gone, see? Just trying to make a point, but whether anyone believes it is another thing. And I think I better fold up, because I think once again I should have the widescreen on. I should do that all the time. It's just that it's easier to hold it the other way. But am I? You know, these are two of your best examples of the doctors of psychology, masters of. You know, they're almost like, I think this one mainly tells you, she's talking to the one that's an expert in the psychopathy of what they call the narcissistic personality disorder. You know, which is interesting now that they've got all these people talking about it. And this one, of course, is like a motivational success person that will tell you how to have success and live to your best life in this you know, in this reality. You know, like a motivational speaker that's an expert on human psychology, you could say, or human beings, like telling you how you can be successful. And that's kind of interesting. And I don't know if I've made my point there very well, because you know, I don't know what I'm going to say when I turn the thing on. You know, I was just going to show the outside influences. But you know, I should freeze frame these things, because if I freeze frame them, sometimes you can really see how hard they try, and how actually kind of how you might just catch glimpses of some. I don't know how to pause it. Hold on. I'm trying to pause it just because I think, I can't do it. I've just got too many things going. Sorry, can't do it. The rain is pouring down outside, I can hear, and I think she might be sending, do hope they're not trying to one of the challenges we have in life to deal with these psychopathic, narcissistic people. I am here to help you, to inform you, to tell you the truth. I am here to help you, inform you, and tell you the truth. Please trust me, because I'm telling you the truth. And that is what they call the irony, I guess, of this reality now. That is the irony. And they are so good. They're unbelievably good. How can you not believe them when they're telling the truth? This is the thing. How can you not listen to them? I can't believe that I listen to it and watch it, knowing what they do. So that just goes to show you. It wouldn't matter if it was just about attention. Like if it was just about attention, and you know, but it's all part of the game, you see. So although it's it might seem not, like some people have said to me, Does it matter where you get the truth from? Does it matter if the truth comes from someone, say, that is a little bit iffy, or maybe even if you didn't like them? Well, if you didn't like them, that may not be justification, no. But if you're getting the truth from someone that is using the truth to somehow control you, because like I say, this matrix is all about control, well then you do have to say, I should be careful, shouldn't I? I don't, just, wouldn't you say? And then if they're controlling you and you're believing them, and then they're sending negative energy at your body, like I've got right now, if they're part of other people that are part of this earth matrix, that are basically trying to bring you down, suppress you in every way, bring down your physical health, bring down your mental clarity to where you're not sure of what's going on, and where you can't focus properly because you're being literally blinded by the light, as they say, the lights of cars and everything that's around you. A complete control, patrol, stalking system around you at a sight, sound and emotional level. That's the whole idea. And at a physical level, attacking your body all the time, bringing out illnesses and pain and weaknesses, and depleting you of your physical energy daily by these beings stalking and patrolling you. They extract negative energy every time they walk past you, every vehicle. It's all designed for that. So you are at your lowest. In fact, one lady walked past me yesterday. As she went past, she said, oh, isn't it good to have lots of energy and be happy? Because she knew that I had no energy and was very unhappy. Really loud talkers too, that's another thing too. See, they have to get the attention. These people that talk everywhere you go, people that you can hear them from a mile away. You probably say, well, I'm a big mouth talking to the mobile, but I don't do that when I'm around. I'm talking loud because I'm angry into the mobile in frustration. Because I see what's going on. I think the mobile might have stopped. I think